Different words describe different people. But in the eyes of the law, there's one that fits us all. Human right number 7. We're all equal before the law. What are human rights? Find out at youthforhumanrights.org.
I'm Sonya.
I'm Ebong.
And I'm Kate, and today we're dishing with you from Ten Penh, located at 1001 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, located at 10 Penh, Pennsylvania.
And our guest today is Septime Webre, who's our artistic director of the Washington Ballet. And welcome.
Thanks, great to be here.
Good. I have to tell you, I saw a recent, actually I'm looking forward to seeing the recent,
the upcoming
Nutcracker, but I want to also mention that one of the first productions I've ever seen in my whole life was actually Nutcracker. Actually, that's from there I fell in love with ballet. So how long have you been in ballet as a whole, as a career?
Well, I've been dancing, I'm Cuban American,
Okay.
and there's a saying that Cubans dance before they can walk. So I basically was probably destined for this career at birth. But I became a professional ballet dancer right out of college. You know, I trained in my teens and through college, and I had a professional performing career throughout my 20s in New York. I retired when I turned 30 and became an artistic director.
Last year?
Yeah. Actually, it was negative 2 years ago. I ended up retiring in 2 years when I turned 30. But and I've been here in D.C. as artistic director for 10 years.
Now, how do you feel about the artistic and cultural scene here in D.C.? Do you think that we appreciate ballet and dance and all of the arts as much as they do in other countries, or are you trying to bring something here that we don't have?
Well, I think D.C. I moved to D.C. in 1999, so it's been 10 years, and that period has just seen an explosion of culture, food, art, just the city's so vibrant. It was always filled with really smart people, educated people who liked establishment art, and ran off to the Kennedy Center to see this or that. And I think actually tastes are more adventuresome now. And I think people have so many options, they want to connect to art. So I think that when art can sort of somehow be pertinent in their lives, I think that's when it's most exciting, and I think we see that in DC now.
Well, and you said that you like that Washingtonians like the traditional, so the Nutcrackers, the Swan Lakes, the usual. So what?
Peter Pan.
But the Washington Ballet is not traditional. Thanks to Septime, I'd say it's not traditional.
Well, exactly. So what are you doing that's non-traditional that can bring new viewers, new audience members in, and can kind of re-energize those of us who've been to a million Swan Lakes and are ready for something new and adventurous?
Well, actually, we're working on 3 projects that do just that, or seek to. Our production of the Nutcracker is running December 10th through 27th at the Warner Theater. And it's a production that I choreographed about 5 years ago, and it's very special in that it's set in historic Washington, D.C. It's of this community, and bits of American history and Washington history woven throughout the production. Frederick Douglass makes an appearance in the party scene. He was a celebrated Washingtonian in the 1880s. It's set in Georgetown, in Georgetown Mansion in 1882. The Rat King is based on George III, and the Nutcracker based on George Washington. And Act 2 is set among the cherry blossoms in full bloom on the banks of the Potomac.
Wonderful.
Bits of American history have been woven throughout the whole production. It's really exciting and fun. About 390 Washingtonians are in the production. And we have a lot of sort of walk-on roles. Many guests are sort of local celebrities and national celebrities who will do walk-on roles in different performances.
We would like to have walk-on. Kate is actually a ballet dancer.
I used to be.
I'll stay backstage and take pictures.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm too chunky to be doing anything. So if there's like a party scene where I can just have food set out, I'm all for that.
This is precisely what we serve.
Excellent.
At Ten Penh, actually.
So how did you decide, I mean, you've been here for over 10 years, and you said you choreographed this about 5 years ago. How did you decide to infuse Washington into the Nutcracker versus any other city or any other experience you had?
Sure. Well, as I said before, I think art is most compelling when the viewer can see themselves on stage, when they can connect. And, the Nutcracker is the port of entry for so many people into the world of ballet. It was for you.
Yes.
So
It was my first full-length ballet too.
I think
it's most little girls.
I saw it just before I turned 4. So yeah, it's the first thing you see.
And somehow I wanted a production that would be a collaborative element on the part of a lot of Washingtonians, really feel of the community. So it seemed like a no-brainer.
And you all do a lot of community work. I mean, I'm seeing you are always trying to bring the community together, maybe do a fashion show. You did a fashion show at Bloomingdale's, and there's a lot of community work. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We have very, very engaged organization in the community. We have two particularly big community engagement programs. One called Dance DC, which is a partnership with the DC public school system, and public schools all around the city, second and third graders get twice a week free ballet training and a language arts and literacy program. And then we've got a big program at the Arc in Anacostia. Really great. About 10,000 kids have been through the program. We spent about $1.4 million on this program, on these community engagement and educational programs a year. So we're doing a lot all around town. But I want to tell you about something else. You asked about how we're shaking things up.
Yeah.
And we're working on the Nutcracker right now, but I'm also at the same time choreographing a new ballet that will premiere in February at the Kennedy Center.
The Scoop.
A new production of The Great Gatsby.
Oh.
Which was my favorite book, in my 20s, in my late teens and early 20s, and developing a new score, a jazz score, and a really original full-length ballet with a jazz orchestra and some vocalists and all of the performers of the Washington Ballet. So I'm working on that sort of at the same time. It should be pretty fun.
I find that so intriguing, The Great Gatsby, because you said, as you said, it's a childhood, or not childhood, but you're in your teens and your 20s.
Favorite book?
One of your favorite books, but more importantly, how do you decide, like the creative process is like overwhelming to me. How do you decide jazz versus some other form of music or some other form of dance and interpretation and still stay within the confines of
why that mind is so important. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
The first thing I did was read the book about 4 or 5 times again and distill it into a libretto. The big challenge was then turning the libretto into a musical score. And jazz is the jazz age. It was a logical. The great American novel should have the great American musical form, which is jazz. And the novel does so many things. The ballet will only be successful if you capture the energy of the era.
Right.
That was a really super energized era. It's got to tell this poignant story of longing and Gatsby who continues to seek the unattainable. It tells a really amazing story, but also it's timely. It's about this society, American society, essentially gone wild during an economic bubble. And some things that happen as a result of it. And so it tells an important story that I think is timely right now too. So it's been a lot of fun. The music's been especially good to work on. And starting to experiment with the dancers in the studio. I choreographed about 8 of the close to 40 songs that will be in the production.
Wow, it'll be a big one.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I always tell people the reason that ballet is so important is because it does tell a story. And even if you don't consider yourself an artistic connoisseur and you don't think that you want to sit through it, it really is something that you can get into because you see yourself on stage or you imagine that book that you read and you see it being acted out in front of your eyes, and it's the body that's the instrument, not the voice.
Sure.
So we are definitely looking forward to that. And
great.
we're looking forward to the Nutcracker because we're in this Christmas season.
Right on.
So thank you so much for sharing some of your holiday with us. And as always, thank you for joining us here on this episode of The District Dish.